Hey guys, today we are transplanting some peppers. A number of different types: Anaheim, Serrano, Poblano, Hot Cherry, Cubanelle, Hatch. Only have one Peter pepper up right now. Kind of got ripped off of the seeds. But right now, Kristen is taking the plants that have doubles. She's taking some of those and separating them. Sometimes I'm not the most gentle with seeds when I'm putting them in the pot. And sometimes I'll drop 2 or 3 or 7 in there. So right now she sticks the knife down in there, a little plastic knife. Grabs them by the leaves and pulls them out of there. This one's got 3.
I wonder who planted that.
That was me. Just really gently spread them apart. Make a nice hole, get them down deep. You don't have to plant these as deep as tomatoes. With tomatoes, you want to get it as deep as possible. With peppers, we're just trying to get the roots buried. Come apart pretty easy. Which ones are these?
These are Serrano.
Serrano peppers. Now these are ones going in our garden. They're not ones that we're going to bring to market. So went ahead and put it in the bigger pot, so they'll stay in these pots up until it's time for them to go in the garden. We're going to start our peppers for market. We have our hot peppers up here: Anaheim, red habanero, jalapeno, some cherry bombs, and cayenne. And then our sweet peppers: the King Arthur, the sweet orange, the sweet red, the sweet yellow, and some okra. Let's get started. What's up, guys? Happy Valentine's Day. It's Brian. We're going to start some seeds today, some pepper seeds. We've already started most of our pepper seeds for the 2021 market, but these are the seeds that we're going to start for seeds that we'll be selling as plants at this year's farmer's market. We're going to talk a little bit about trays first. So if you were to go to your local Lowe's or Walmart and get seed starting trays, they'd look a lot like this. 99 cents to $1.50, super flimsy. Once you get water and plants in here and it's time for you to move it around or, start to transplant, it's really easy to spill. The weight of the water wants to lean towards the, whichever side is gravity down, and just start draining water, muddy water all over the place. I'm using some of these just because I'm out of the more rigid starter trays like we have here. These white ones, bend it, flex it, nice and sturdy, can't bend it. Don't have to worry about any holes popping up in these. These came from Bootstrap Farmer. I believe they were about $5 a piece, and well worth their weight in gold when it comes to starting seeds. Along with those, we also got these 128 tray planters. So these are also super rigid. See how it's just real stiff? Not a lot of flex in this at all. You can bend it, but I mean, for the most part, look how straight that thing sits on its own. And that just goes in there, and we'll be using that today. If you were to get these planters from Lowe's or Walmart, look at this. See how crunchy that thing is? This has been used once, and there's already some cracks in these. I mean, you can almost just put your finger straight through the side of one of these because it's just so flimsy. I am not going to use this again. Just kind of brought this in as an example for you to see what not to use. I mean, you can use it, but if it's something that you're going to plan on doing over and over and over each year, why spend $2-3 on one of these when you could spend $6 on one of these and use it for years and years to come? So we're going to start with these, get these not so great ones out of the way. How do we do this to start? I know a lot of people like to sterilize their soil, and at first we were doing that, but then we started to not do that, and we've had the same amount of luck. So we've got some
Scott's potting soil from here. Straight out of your local Dollar General for $8 a bag. And the first thing I like to do is just set some soil on top. Now, the reason we bought it from Dollar General, as opposed to buying it from Lowe's or Menards, right now, all of the soil that you can get from Lowe's or Menards is all sitting outside. And I didn't want to wait for the soil to have to raise to room temperature before I got down to business. You know what I'm saying? So I went ahead and got this stuff from Dollar General because it was sitting inside on an indoor rack and it was already room temperature. Now there might be stuff at your local hardware store that's sitting inside, but for us, a lot of people, and not just in our region, but a lot of people around the country are starting to do their own seeds and plant their own seeds. A lot of people kind of got stuck inside this past spring. Their kids didn't go back to school after spring break, and that kind of started it. But then after that, you know, a lot of people were seeing stores around the country that were out of produce and were out of all sorts of necessities, you know, toilet paper, hygiene items. But food, that's a scary one. You have to have food to survive. So a lot of people are getting into this, us included. So here we are. This last year we did our first big garden, and we became huge fans of going to the farmers market. It was a great way for us to make some extra money, doing something that we enjoy doing together. And now, because we like the farmers market so much and we want to go back to it, you can't really have, well, I guess you can have tomatoes and peppers in April and May when the farmers market starts, but you'd really have to be paying for some serious heat in the greenhouse to do that here in central Missouri. We're in Rolla, Missouri. And we did do that for a little while. We have some larger plants you might have seen in some of our other videos out in the greenhouse. It's we built a 12 by 27 greenhouse out of PVC and from 6 mil construction plastic that I got from Lowe's. And it's worked out really well, but my electric bill was almost $600 this past month, so I said, you know what, let's bring those plants inside in the basement under grow lights until this cold spell passes, because right now, Valentine's Day 2021, there is a big cold front coming through. It's snowing its butt off right now. I'll show you guys the snow before we end this video. But it's snowing and it's cold. This morning, my wife's car froze up. The cooling system froze up because this past summer I put some water in the antifreeze because the air conditioning was messed up, and I should have done that. I should have mixed it, but that made it freeze up, so now it's in the garage thawing out. Hopefully there's not any permanent damage. So right now, all I'm doing is I'm not pressing the dirt into the trays. I'm just kind of coasting it over the trays, each little hole, and letting the dirt fall in there, and then just kind of gliding my hand over it until they're all even. A little bit of a process to make sure that it's perfect. The ones on the edges are the most difficult because, you know, it wants to fall off the side. But we've almost got this one. And these are trays of 128 from the Bootstrap Farmer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 across, and I guess that would be 16 long ways. All right, so it looks like we're good to go. We have all the trays full. So what I like to do now is, once I have dirt, an even amount of potting soil in each one of them, is just take my fingers and just gently depress down, not super hard, but just make little spots for all my seeds. Just a little depression. And the seed packets will tell you how far deep down you want to plant your seeds. Really, the deeper ones are like your squashes, and you really want to try to direct sow your squashes and your corn and your pumpkins and stuff, watermelon, melon types. But with peppers and tomatoes, it's all pretty shallow. And all we're going to do is drop a seed down inside and then come over and lightly sprinkle some dirt over it after we get the seed in there. So let's start with these tasty yellow bell peppers. Let's start with the yellow bell. When you're opening up a seed packet, don't tear it open, because you might use some of the extra seeds that are down in there, and if you tear it open, seeds that get stuck in the corner can be discarded. So don't just tear it in half. Take this little flap on the end right here and unfold it up there. Unfold it, and then you can stick your finger down in there. Your finger down in there. And now any seed that might be stuck in the interior of the packet, you've got access to all those seeds. And plus you can still see all of the good information on here about how many days to harvest, how deep, how to space it. You get a lot of good information here. Here in Central Missouri and Rolla, Missouri, we're in Zone 6A. It'll tell you what your zones are on the back and when you should put them outside. So with the yellow bell, I'm going to do 3 rows. Do 3 rows of the yellow bell. So I'm going to put 2 seeds in each of these little holes.
I almost can't believe it. Every time we touch, I feel at home. There's no way I'd ever let you go. When you put your hands in mine, I know I'm gonna be alright. I don't know.
You'll see a lot of these trays come with a humidity dome, a clear plastic dome that goes over the top. You can go ahead and take that thing and crumble it up and throw it in the trash, because we've had nothing but problems with those. And what that does is holds extra moisture down here, and then you start to see mold and mildew. Ever since we stopped using the humidity dome, we have not had that problem. We just bottom water everything, and the roots get moist and the plant gets strong, and we've had nothing but success with that. So take that humidity dome and throw it away. You don't need it. Without the humidity dome, doing it the way that we've been doing it, we've had about, I don't know, a 99.9% germination rate. It's been pretty high. If we put a seed in there, it pops up. So high germination rate doing it this way. If you plant these too deep, then the seed won't have enough energy. That germ in there, that's why they call it germination. There's really 3 parts to a seed. You have the outer shell, which protects it. That's what's called the bran, or what we like to refer to as fiber, the stuff that helps you pass other foods. But that bran, or the shell, or the fiber, encompasses the germ and the starch. The starch is the sugar, which the plant uses as energy to feed it as it's growing. What we like to do is we like to take that sugar and process it, turn it into stuff like wheat and flour and all that. But the plant needs that sugar so that it can grow and make its way up through the soil. But with these tiny little flat little pepper plants, it doesn't have a whole lot of sugar starch in there. That germ, or that fat, is what has to get soluble and get moist so that it can germinate that germ, so it can pop up through the soil. You want to make sure you're not planting these pepper seeds too deep. What you can kind of do is just take, after you get done planting them, and just kind of move the dirt.
Put your hands in mine, I know I'm gonna be alright.
now it's looking
I
all
don't know
pretty.
anybody that could compare to you.
You identify
The way
what's
you're
in
always
the
smiling.
rows. Here we go. I don't like to pack the dirt down. Just like to sprinkle it over it. You pack it down, you're just making that plant have to work that much harder to get through a more rigid surface. So now we have all of our stuff planted. As you can see, we have the golden bell, orange bell, red bell, our King Arthurs, and our okra. Now at this point, what we're gonna do, and this is another benefit of having these more rigid trays, you just lift them up like this. You're not gonna do that with those other trays that I showed you. So we're just gonna lift it up and we're gonna bottom fill this bottom portion with warm water. And then once it fills with warm water and you set this tray down on top of it, that water is gonna soak up, you know, like capillaries all the way up to the top, and it's gonna moisten those seeds. And with that sitting on top of the lights on a heat mat, it'll be germinating in no time. So with the, let's see if it says on the seed packets, 10 to 21 days for, looks like almost all of, if not all of the sweet peppers, 10 to 21 days, 10 to 21 days. The orange is 10 to 21 days. And then our okra, 12 to 14 days. So here in the next couple weeks, we should be seeing all kinds of life popping up on these trays here. All right, I'm here under our grow lights. We have a couple of racks and then some larger plants sitting here in the basement getting big. So I'm just gonna grab this tray here. Got a heat mat there already warm and good to go. I'm gonna set it on top of there. There's no water in this yet. You can see I didn't top water these tomatoes at all. No water on top. And that's why the surface is still nice and even. You pour water on top of potting soil, what's likely gonna happen is your potting soil is gonna spread away and it'll resurface your seed to the top, and then your top's getting direct light. It's not a good thing. So we like to bottom water. And if you'll see, if I touch one of these, let me just clean finger for the most part. If I touch one of these, not so clean, because it's nice and moist, nice and sticky, the perfect consistency of what you want your soil to be. This is gonna be the same way right after I get done putting some water inside of it. All right, so the first thing I wanna do is make sure that my water gets hot on the hot side, and that's hot. Give it some cold. I want it to be warm. Okay, that's perfect right there. Maybe even a little warmer. Yeah. You don't want it to be hot, you just want it to be nice and warm. And really, it can be hot, just can't be too hot, because it's going to cool down as it makes its way up that soil anyway. See if I can do this one-handed. So here's our pepper plants. This thing's super rigid, so I can just push this up inside of there. And I'm watering down in there. I don't know if you can see the water hit or not. You can probably hear it. We're gonna give it a good amount of water the first time around, so it'll soak all of those little trays in there. each little pot. Looking good, looking good. I think right about there will do it. Let's set that down and kind of show you. I'd say it's about 1/3 of the way full. And all that water is going to make its way up and start moistening the rest of that soil. And with it being on this heat mat, it's really going to go a long way to help, especially with peppers. These are sweet peppers, so they germinate a little bit easier than hot peppers, but hot peppers, it's a necessity, an absolute must to have that heat mat down there if you want to get peppers like Serrano and Cubanelle and hot cherry and what is this? Oh, Ghost and Carolina Reaper. And once they're germinated and they've got their true leaves, the heat mat's not a necessity anymore. It'll continue to push that plant to grow a little faster, but we want them to take their time, especially right now with it being February 14th. We're a long way away from selling plants and putting plants in our garden, so we're okay if they take their time. But we want to get them germinated evenly so they're all the same size, both when we put them in our garden and when we sell them to our customers. So I think that's pretty much it for today. Go ahead and hit that like button and the subscribe button if you'd like to be updated next time we upload a video, and we will see you guys on the next one.
Every time we touch, I feel